Hey, welcome to World of Unknown. I'm Danny.
I'm Trevor.
Welcome, guys. Hey, we're another episode. We are going to tackle, actually, we're going to start doing kind of a cryptids, if you want. What's going to be cryptids today. But there's so many cryptids out there. We're going to go ahead and start tackling. Every once in a while, we'll have an episode with different types of cryptids because there is just a bunch. There's a bunch just in North America alone, but all over the world, there's cryptids in them. And before we jump into cryptids, man, what are cryptids?
So cryptids are an animal or a creature that some people believe exist.
Okay.
But science has not proven that they exist at all. So it's more like a folk tale or like a handed down story from a long time ago.
Right. Something that might be extinct, maybe, exactly.
Could have been a real animal.
We're not sure, right? Yeah, exactly.
You know, something.
I mean, you could say something like a unicorn is a cryptid because some people think it was actually a real thing, but it just has never been,
discovered yet.
A lot. We go through different kind of cryptids, and not always maybe this episode, but there's some of the stuff is kind of like legendary beasts or legendary things that, but people still insist that it would be true. Dragons,
Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster,
kind of stuff like that, and then there's some cryptids, and I don't remember any examples now. We'll go across that started as cryptids and were proven to be true, actually.
Yeah, like the Ozark Howler.
Yeah, there we go.
That came up to be wolves reintroduced back in the territory, and people.
And sometimes the original creature is actually something else that altogether entirely, but it end up being it's something true, just that we didn't look at differently.
Our imagination, we might have heard a sound and we made this imagination and we created a creature to it. And
other few examples of there were some others, that coming in that like, oh, this is actually something that was actually true, and I going through so much information, I forget there was one or two things that actually were true, nothing crazy or something like that.
Yeah.
Does that come in? So that's a cryptid. It's just an animal or anything that we haven't found yet, but it's usually kind of like a legend or
chupacabra.
Out there. Chupacabras are real though, so be careful. They're out there.
They'll suck your blood, buddy.
That's right. They suck your what?
They'll suck your
blood. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Stop getting so excited.
I misheard that. That was
no.
Anyways, hey, so let's go ahead and just jump into the first cryptid. What do we got here, man?
So, for most of mine, I went with Native American lore.
Okay.
I wanted to, because like you can get people that have like the stories now and they make up animals, but like back in the Native American days, it was real raw and real, like it was just different.
Right.
So I went with the Wendigo.
The Wendigo, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What is the Wendigo?
So it's like a skeleton-looking creature that when you smell it, it smells like decomposition and death.
Pleasant.
And it hunts humans. It needs flesh to survive.
Okay.
So what it does is it'll like mimic human beings.
All right.
And it'll lure you in.
So they're definitely aggressive and harmful.
Very, yeah. So they hunt humans, apparently.
Okay. Not good.
So they'll mimic you.
Okay.
They stalk people in the woods. They want flesh.
Wow.
Flesh and blood. That's
and
all
this
they
is
want.
definitely a Native American belief, along with skinwalkers. It's a Wendigo. So what are the characteristics of a Wendigo? Or what are the...
So some of it says like they could be a possessed human that was selfish or a cannibalistic person or gluttony.
Okay.
And this is what they turned into. They turned into this wandering thing that
almost like a werewolf kind of, man. That's when I imagine Wendigos. Some of the movies, I guess they're just movies. It kind of always reminds me of a werewolf, but it's a different type. It's not a.
Yeah, it's more werewolves are more like big animal. This
Wolves,
is more like imagine like a human that's just kind of rotted away.
Gotcha.
And it's just
they're like
fast and aggressive.
Like
fast, aggressive. And it's kind of it's a different type of thing.
Gotcha.
And this came from the North American tribes up in like New England area.
Okay. In America. Okay.
And then it's going to be cold.
Right.
Cold weather, and that's when it usually gets you is when you're walking alone or you got separated from a group. Most of this stuff is when you get separated or you're in the woods alone.
Obviously, then it hunts you when you're alone. Obviously, it doesn't want to take on the pack. It takes on the stragglers, which most predators do. They wait for the weaker ones, the straggler, to go on, or the ones that are hurt, and they'll take on to that. Interesting. And now, obviously, with a lot of the Native American stuff, there's still belief in that today, right?
Very much so, and it's not just in the New England area. It's actually throughout the states,
right?
And multiple tribes believe in it, and not just the tribes, but a lot of people now do too.
Okay, I mean, yeah, it's definitely Native Americans were more attuned to nature and stuff, and stuff that we have dismissed as just superstitious and stuff. Sometimes might have basis in truth. You know,
Well,
it's hard to just kind of just.
That's the
push it
cool
aside.
thing. So the way that, like scientists really looked into this, and what they believe is this was the tribes dealing with a real world problem.
Okay.
And the real world problem is like there wasn't enough food, so people turned to cannibalism and violence, and this is what the creature that they said that person would turn into. Like if you started eating each other, you're a Wendigo.
Gotcha.
When times got
so
tough.
it's based in, but I mean, all this stuff, and especially Native American, it's kind of based in some kind of truth out of it. But so that kind of makes sense. You got somebody that kind of got hungry enough and then just started turning on other people because I mean, and if they're ranged enough and whatever, and it just like cannibalism, you know.
And eating human flesh does not
flesh.
make you think straight. You definitely start turning into something different.
Sure, because I'm thinking pretty.
What, have you
solid
been
now.
eating human flesh? Yeah.
No, never.
Well, hey, buddy. Well, I mean, so they had like one of the myths which cracked me up was like a little girl defeated one
Okay.
by boiling tallow
All right.
and then throwing it on it.
What's tallow, man?
I have no idea.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry.
I'm guessing.
I'll put up a little definition of what tallow is.
figure it
I'll put
out. I
it
should've
right
looked
here,
that up.
or I'll just even stop it and just put it like right here.
Yeah, I know what bone
Okay.
marrow is.
Now we
But,
got,
you know.
okay. So anyway, so boiling tallow and throwing it on him.
So it threw it on him, and it made it small and vulnerable to attack. So
Okay.
then they killed it.
Right. Hey, that's kind of weird that she kind of figured that out.
I don't know how that became a thing.
All right.
But,
more power to her.
And the other thing was 2019, there was some campers up in the Canadian wilderness.
Okay. But
And-
recently, then, just
Yeah, and they
okay.
said they kind of ran into something. They heard like a weird sound, and something was stalking them through the woods.
Yeah.
and yeah.
You know, those woods out there, they're very, in all parts of the world, and it's very deep, and stuff can hide pretty easily out there. So it's not unheard of. You know, a lot of times it would be like wolves or catch something, but people who are experienced and they know the sound of wolves, if they're saying like, I don't know, that wasn't anything I've ever heard of before, but there's stuff out there that sometimes we don't know.
Well, it's like if you go to the Southwest, you look into like the actual forest.
Yeah.
It's a straight up rainforest, and you can't see 20 feet into that.
Right. And something could hide in there, you know.
You
some
could
kind
be
of
looking at like
right.
a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
It's like it's so
It is.
dense.
It's very interesting, and we don't. I guess we don't
And
realize
scary.
out here. Yeah, and we're out here in Vegas. We live out in the desert, so but even the deserts can hide stuff out there. We don't know everything out there. Sometimes it's hard to get. Oh, let's take a pause here. Okay, got little technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so right, so stuff hunting out there and everything. It's sometimes it's hard to know all the creatures out there. And speaking of, let's go ahead and jump into my first. Cryptid we have, and some of the stuff that I'm looking in when we're studying, and a lot of the list of cryptids I pulled up. As you know, I told you I had some trouble finding. As a lot of the cryptids I was finding was kind of like alien based. It was almost like an alien kind of thing.
Which is weird because it's a whole different.
It's a whole different aliens.
category.
To us, aliens and cryptids are, well, for me, it'd be different. But a lot of the stories I'm looking up in different creatures that I have listed was a lot of alien based stuff, and I was like, why is that listed under cryptids? And
It
stuff?
shouldn't be.
So, and one of them here, it's not alien, but it is a weird thing called it a cryptid. But I guess that's what technically what it is. It's it's not really an animal; it's a creature. And these are
It is a creature.
it is a creature, and these are the small people called the Rocky Mountain Nimirigar.
Okay.
Nimirigar
I've never
are the
heard
little
of 'em.
people now. This is from the Native Americans of the Shoshone and the Paiute in the Wyoming and Idaho area. They are the little people, and Nimirigar is a little, I think it stands for little people eater, basically. And these little people have, and they're little people eaters, basically.
Little purple people
Yeah,
eaters.
little purple people eaters, that's right. Well, they supposedly had little bows with poisonous arrows, and these Native Americans had battles with them. These little people were not. I mean, so they're from like 1.5 to 3 feet tall.
Okay.
They were not friendly at all. They're very aggressive.
Well, you'd have to be if you're
Right,
midget.
exactly. So you're coming across a bunch of little people. Yeah.
My bad. Sorry. I'm not politically correct.
But this is even smaller than that. I mean, these were not. It's just like a different tribe of
You're
things.
talking about like 3 feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And these things would attack. They had poisonous arrows. They would fight the Shoshone and the Paiute. Apparently, they had battles with them. Where they had to fight them off in territory. I guess they're territorial. These things, and then they weren't really eating. I didn't hear stories about them eating into the Shoshone or the Paiute people. They would eat their own who were too sick or too old So when there was that type of civilization, like once you were useless to them, they would basically
They
just
just
eat
weed
you.
out the weak real
They'd
quick.
weed out the wheat, but they would eat them basically is what they were told
damn,
about.
what
Yeah,
is this?
exactly. Very brutal. So these things live. So and going through, it's not unheard of and hearing that and hearing other Native Americans that we kind of briefly went over a lot is a lot of these Native American Indians have stories about either tall people fighting or small.
Well,
and all across the continent, at least North America, there's always stories about little short people that they would come across. I mean, we have the pygmies in Papua New Guinea and Indonesia and all stuff like that.
We had the red-headed
So it's
cannibal
not-
giants out
right,
here.
Exactly. So it's not out of the realm to go there. But these Nyamiriga are supposedly they had found. So there's a story of these guys that were digging. I forget where in the area, kind of in the same area in the Wyoming area, and they found this little cave, and they found a little small mummified person, and it was like a little small person that was kind of
Okay.
like maybe about yay big.
So I'm guessing they thought it was like a baby at first.
Well, when they went through and they saw they had bones, they thought it was fake at first, and then they x-rayed it and found bones. They did come later on that someone did go through and was like, look, this is actually just an infant that way got crushed.
Yeah,
It was a
that's
violent
what-
end to
okay.
this. You can see that this thing head was broken open and stuff. But they also have reportedly have found these huge graveyards of small people that they've run across in some areas that they've found. So I don't know if that was proved to be true or not. But again, finding a race of little people is not out of the question.
Well,
since we do
down
have
in the
pygmies.
Amazon, there is
Right.
They have
They
seen
have
them.
shorter-
Yeah, they
yeah,
have
shorter
seen them.
size.
But they got hunted to extinction apparently.
Basically,
But they
right.
think they survived.
And that's what they think with Nyamiriga. Either got hunted to extinction or they just kind of died out because there was fighting everybody. They're very
There was
aggressive,
just the angry-
very aggressive,
the
very
angry
yeah.
inch.
Angry. That talk about Napoleon syndrome right there. Exactly right.
angry inch
the
came at
angry
you.
inch. Exactly. But yeah, there's a Nyamiriga. I thought it was very interesting. I have heard of that name before too. And I can't remember if it
I've
was
heard
used
of
in a
it.
different type of running for something else, but
I think it was in a movie I heard about.
yeah,
it.
exactly. So, but running into there's actually a race of Nyamiriga that lived a while ago. Supposedly, mainly the Shoshone had dealt with.
Can you imagine like walking around, you see this little thing, and you go, "Oh, how cute!" And you go,
Yeah, it's like
I'm gonna kill you.
that reminds me of my kids when they're younger. Anyways,
Oh, God.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Again, for the
That's a
Native
good
American
one.
lores, they've dealt with a lot of stuff, and sometimes we kind of like yeah, sure you did, and then you come back later on like I think they were right. Like
Well,
fuck.
I mean,
Like,
look,
holy
like
shit.
we had they talked about battling giants out here
Yeah.
in the thing, and we finally found them, and it was
Found a few
giant
skeletons,
redhead giants
yeah, I
that
mean,
were
just-
cannibals, and they
Right,
hunted 'em.
exactly, and you're like, oh shit, I guess
Yeah,
they're
they
telling
had,
the
I think they
truth.
backed them into a
cave and
they
yeah.
just buried them.
Yeah, and then just kind of burned them out or something,
Yeah.
buried them, because exactly. Cause they were
So
going
I
through.
believe it.
There goes through, yeah. What we got next on the list there, bud?
So this one kind of was like one of the it was weird, but I liked it because it was gruesome and crazy.
Right.
So if I mess this up, please don't get mad at me. The Skada Gumuch
Okay.
is like a ghost witch monster.
Oh shit.
So the Wabanaki tribe,
Mm-hmm.
and they're about modern day Maine.
Okay.
These were the ones that started believing in it, and they believed that this was like one of their sorcerers that didn't want to die. He refused to die, so he kept coming back.
One of like the
As-
shaman kind of guy.
Well, they called him a
sorcerer, okay.
like so an evil sorcerer.
Okay, all right.
Shaman
gotcha.
are good.
Yeah.
And you have maybe the
Kind of like the
counterpart of that.
skinwalker of the kind of like
Yeah,
the,
I guess
okay,
so,
but there's
yeah.
a little different. There's more.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they believe that these come back as balls of light, which I thought was interesting because that's its own phenomenon in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in the ghost hunting world. And the
Yeah.
yeah.
So these things also they feed on blood and flesh
Right.
to remain immortal. So
Well, wow, immortal, so they can live.
they can live forever as long as they're feeding.
Yeah.
They can live forever.
That's scary.
And they also they hunt people in the woods.
Okay.
So, and it doesn't mimic or do anything like that, but it's like there was a tale about a husband and wife, and they were traveling, and one of these shaman, it was like a shaman or a priest or something. They had because they don't bury their dead in the ground; they bury them up on like scaffolding or trees.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't want the animals to eat them and stuff like that.
Interesting.
So, and there's a lot of Native American tribes that used to do that. They would put them high up.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
this husband and wife, they're traveling and they go into this patch of woods and there's a shaman. There's a burial. So the wife looks, she goes, I don't want to stay here. The husband's like, it's fine. Just go to bed. We'll keep going in the morning. Well, as the story goes, what happened was they were sleeping. She kept getting disturbed by this gnawing sound. And when she woke up in the morning, she went to go wake her husband up. The husband was dead.
Okay.
And she noticed that on the left side of him was just gnawed clean open.
Jeez Louise.
And I think it was his heart.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah, so his heart was gone.
I wonder why he didn't wake up. If somebody's gnawing on you, you'd think that was
I don't know. Maybe she thought it. Maybe, who knows? I wouldn't wake up if I heard gnawing.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
or
no,
maybe,
why he didn't wake up when someone's gnawing on him?
I think well, this is the thing. I think it just kind of killed him.
Right, and then it
started feeding on him.
Yeah.
So she ran to the nearest tribe. She goes in there. The tribe starts going, yeah, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
They go out there to get the body. They apparently they went up onto the scaffolding and they noticed that on the mouth of the corpse
was all
fresh blood. So I was like, oh. I'm like, either this wife really hated her husband and really set this one up so they wouldn't get her.
Exactly.
Or
the dead guy ate him.
Some shit happened.
The dead guy.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. He did it.
Yeah. So I'm like, and the other thing is it has a very European type lore to it. You can only kill it with fire. And the Europeans said you burn a witch with fire.
Kind of like almost zombie-ish, a little bit, you know.
Yeah, kind of like almost vampire-ish.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
In that sense, like you need the blood of the victim to
more like
to remain
an
immortal.
undead creature, if anything. Yeah, exactly.
But so it was just interesting that even a continent away, and they didn't even interact with each other. They still thought fire was the reason to how you could burn these things and kill them.
I guess that would make sense. So you want to burn to ash, and if it's not staying down when you kill it, then getting it.
I mean, you're burning a corpse, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I guess cremation. I mean, they didn't believe in cremation.
Well, they started to after that, I imagine.
Well, I mean, you want an evil spirit. That's how you get rid of it. You burn it, and the ashes are
interesting.
They can't harm you anymore. You know.
Yeah.
So I thought that one was like a nice, dark, little, interesting kind of.
Yeah, that is interesting. That is kind of almost like a boogeyman type of thing, but something they really believed in, and something that really.
All I know is if I see a fucking a burial up in a tree, I'm not sleeping underneath it.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. That would be weird, anyways. I was sleeping underneath.
But if you think about it, they had graveyards all throughout, and sometimes they would just find it. Like if it was your loved one, they go, well, they really love this tree.
Right.
And this was the tree that they would go and, sit in. And this is, we fell in love here. So they put them up there. Okay. They would rest them in a place that they thought would be nice.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But if it was an evil sorceress, I don't know who liked that person.
No, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm good with that. Thank you.
So if you hear gnawing in the middle of the night, wake the fuck up.
Right. Or somebody starts biting you in the middle of the night. You better wake up. Wake up. Ow. Get away. Ow, stop it.
It's just your wife.
Stop it.
I told you to feed me.
Tonight I have a headache.
God damn it.
Ow! Like, what the hell, man? Anyways.
I am Fred, not food.
Not on the menu tonight. Sorry.
All right, what do you got?
So it's going in, and this kind of reminds me of... there's a lot of stuff that's kind of similar and kind of takes on the same characteristics. And this kind of reminds me of when you were talking about earlier, the Wendigo and kind of werewolf thing. It's the Michigan Dogman. A lot of people have probably heard that.
Kind of heard of it.
Yeah, I kind of heard that a little bit too. And the Michigan Dogman, supposedly in 1887, there was a couple of lumberjacks that kind of run in with a 7-foot-tall, blue-eyed or amber-eyed canine-like animal with a torso of a man, but with the head of a dog.
So like a werewolf almost.
Basically. But it's not a wolf head, but it's a dog head, basically.
Same thing. I mean, what kind of dog are we talking about? Like
exactly. I don't know. Would it be a Chihuahua, I guess?
That'd be hilarious. I wouldn't run from that.
Pug.
I'd be like, dude, you can't.
Bulldog head or something? Yeah,
what exactly. Are you doing?
It's just shaking his head. And so Chihuahua head's like, oh, it's cold out here.
I'm going to bite you.
Oh, you got a jacket? Suppose this thing came. So I think when they first came out and the people that first encountered it, they didn't say they were attacked by it. They just kind of had they saw it, basically.
Okay, so it's like a Bigfoot thing. Like they saw it.
It's hard to miss a 7-foot-tall dog.
Chihuahua head dog.
Exactly. Yeah, with a human torso. So And this has happened over up in the Michigan area, basically I think the lower.
There's a lot of weird things that go around those Great Lakes.
Right. Sightings have been reported in several locations throughout Michigan, primarily in the northern quadrant of the lower peninsula, also in Wisconsin area too.
So right around the lake.
Yeah, right around the lakes areas. So in 1887, it kind of shows up. Again, it shows up in 1937. This guy supposedly was attacked by 5 wild dogs, and when he was trying to fight him off, supposedly one of the dogs he noticed was the dog man. He was like on 2 legs.
Leader.
Yeah, basically, because it almost looked like he was kind of standing back, and almost looked like he was kind of directing these things, for his attack and everything. I'm like, okay,
you got a pack now.
Even regardless of the whole dog man, this guy fighting off 5 wild dogs is pretty impressive.
Dude,
that's
crazy.
Scary. Yeah, it's very scary. So
if you've ever been attacked by a dog, that's no
it's bad enough.
Yeah.
But wild dogs at that. Now, we're not talking about a corgi coming at you.
People get killed nowadays.
5 corgis attacking sounds really
That'd be
adorable.
hilarious.
That sounds
Or
adorable.
wiener dogs.
Yeah, oh my god.
Adorable.
you just can't. The wiener dogs are good because you can throw them. They just got that.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Yeah. No abuse to dogs. Sorry, just joking. So again, the thing comes out. People are sightings all throughout. Until today, from 1887. They have another one from 1994. A bunch of reports came in. This one guy claimed he had seen him on 3 separate occasions. Okay, so anyway, so 1993, 94, reports come in, someone seeing him a few times. So supposedly this thing comes out, which, and it's contradictory. Every 10 years, the Mission Dogman is supposed to be
I was about to say that
right.
the timeline was,
and it's always the year that ends with a 7, 87. 37.
There's a couple of them that do
97.
that. 97.
Exactly. But then there's also, reports of this person in 93, 94. But mainly like the bulk of this.
He fucked up.
I know. The bulk of the set is supposed to be in the on the 7s. So and speaking of 87, in 1987, there was a disc jockey. His name is Steve Cook. And he's at WTCM FM in Traverse City. He had on April Fool's Day, he had heard about the sightings about it, so he made up the song about it, supposedly put it on the radio, and he just as a joke and everything, and he was just playing along like he's heard like, oh, the dog man, okay, I'll make a song, April Fool's Day. So when he made the song and he played it as a joke, he started getting all these calls in about people saying like, oh, I've actually seen that, and he was like, okay, this was just supposed to be a joke.
But was it still April Fool's?
It was still April Fool's, but even afterwards, exactly. Right. Even afterwards, he had all these calls come in and people saying they had seen it.
You joke me, I joke you.
So basically, he kind of opened a can of worms with his joke that people actually started calling in. And
all the weird ones started calling.
I guess, I don't know if they realized he was just playing a joke. I think he said it was a joke, but they're like, yeah, that's funny, but I've really seen this thing, you made a song about that. So basically, his song kind of took off.
I mean, they do have moonshine down there.
Right. So, so that thing's been seen a lot. There's been films made about the dog man and everything.
I've seen Dog Soldier, where it was like werewolves.
Okay, is that kind of the same thing?
No, because they're werewolves.
Right.
And these things were like vicious. They were like tearing people apart, and I don't know if that's based on that. Maybe.
Right. Exactly. Maybe. I mean, maybe. I know I've heard of the dog man. Let's see, in 57. So it's all these things like finding footprints and claw marks, and not really main sightings a lot of times going on. But
the old freak shows, they would have a dog man all the time.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's one of those things.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, that's not. So what if a guy had a genetic disorder?
Yeah.
And he kind of got cast out because we're talking about the 1800s and stuff. So you would, if you looked different, you had to go hide.
Yeah.
So what if something like that happened and this guy's just out there?
Wasn't on one of those old like Ripley, believe it or not, they had those the couple of Hispanic boys that had hair growing on their face, and they had them in the circus.
They have a new one. They have a new one.
So there's a thing.
The
so
hairiest people in the world.
The only thing that kind of gets me is that this thing is really tall. This reminds me a lot of, like I said, like a werewolf thing. It could just be a really huge, wild dog that they I don't know. Maybe they think it's up on.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, okay, look, Europeans were coming over, so you would have Great Danes, Mastiffs.
Yeah.
You had big dogs coming around.
Exactly. So is it something they saw that
something that would make a wolf
that
small?
was sitting that would make it think that it was, I don't know.
And it had this look in its eye like,
maybe.
I know you.
Or there could be a dog man. But the only thing now is with a lot of these cryptids and these legends and stuff. So say if it was a dog man, the first sighting was in 1887. Okay, how old is
that's
it? Right, but I'm saying, how old is this damn thing? Is it supposed to be like
Well,
it's
it would have,
brethren, or is it be you know?
Yeah, I would say it's not.
It's not right.
It would
So
have to be
a-
handed down, or like
right.
maybe it's like a pack of something that someone hasn't found yet. And it's just
So
roaming
if
around.
there's one kind of abnormality in an animal, it's going to happen again and again and again. I mean, if it's supposed to be something rare, like
Maybe.
a mutant or something,
I'm
that's the
gonna-
only kind of thing about that is that this thing has been too long for it to be kind of alive that long.
Yeah, unless someone's playing a joke.
This is Dogman Jr.
Maybe.
Dogman Jr.
I mean, the thing that
This
threw
point,
me
it's
off,
more like
though-
Dogman Jr.
Yeah, the thing that threw me off though was it had a pack attacking a guy. And
Yeah.
I think if a guy's getting attacked by 5 dogs, and he sees, if you know how a pack works,
Yeah.
you have the alpha, and the alpha makes the other ones do the work,
Right.
and then it'll step in when it needs
When
to.
to finish the kill.
Yeah, because you need the leader.
Right.
So if you had a really big dog,
Yeah.
like a feral dog, and there was a pack of feral dogs, and dogs can get up to 150 pounds.
Yeah, they're big. Yeah. Exactly.
And you had a 150-pound dog sitting there looking at you while you're fighting off smaller dogs. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
You might think that's something that's not normal because you might not have seen it
Right.
around that area, and it might have been brought from a different country, and it's the
Maybe.
first time you ever saw something.
There was another story about it, kind of similar to that, where a guy was getting attacked by like a dog or two. I don't know if it was like a pack of dogs, and he got a shotgun and kind of firing up in the air, and they kind of took off 2 of them. One of them just kind of stood, kind of staring at him, and they kind of stood up and looked at him, like kind of saying, like, "I'm not afraid of you," and they just walked away. And I'm just like, well, that was fucking weird. You know?
Well, this is the thing. I've heard there was a guy that he's one of the, like a famous hunter.
Yeah.
They killed the moose. The moose ran off, fell in between a wolf den and a grizzly bear got sent to it. So when they caught up to it,
Yeah.
the grizzly bear's fighting the wolves
Okay.
and killing a bunch of wolves.
Jeez, yeah.
And he goes, I'll never forget this as long as I live. I looked over because they didn't have any, like they didn't have a gun. They just, I think they had a pistol and they had bows.
Yeah. I ain't gonna do
So
nothing
they
for
can't
this.
really do anything,
No,
especially against a grizzly bear.
You're just gonna irritate the grizzly bear.
So while this grizzly bear is tearing up these wolves, I think it killed like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
He said he looked over and this alpha was just staring at him.
Yeah.
And he goes, it pierced his soul, and it was like, you fucking did this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'll never forget you because
Yeah.
you're getting my pack killed.
By the way, why hasn't that movie been made yet? By the way, the wolves fighting the grizzly bear.
Yeah, like and like I have,
Sounds awesome.
yeah, like I have pit bulls, and when you look at a pit bull,
Yeah.
for some reason they just they have a different connection when they look in your eyes.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain that, but
Right.
it's different. Some dogs can just look into you.
What if this dogman is an actual person? Maybe he has like a dog. You know when they put the dead animal on top? And
like berserkers and stuff like that.
yeah.
They put the
and
wolf
he's actually
skin.
ingratiated himself with the wild dogs, and he is helping them.
That's actually been documented though. People
Yeah.
have done that.
But
with
he's
wolves
doing
and
that.
stuff
He's
like
just
that.
helping the dogs hunt. You know, that could be something like that. And I mean, maybe he's not 7 feet tall, but maybe he's a big guy.
He could be 6'2", and
6'2", and
most
just-
people back then were small.
Right. And well, when they just look because they're getting attacked, they're like, man, this guy was like 7 feet tall.
Especially if he
right.
stood up.
Exactly. And
'Cause
stood
he'd
up
be-
and he's
yeah.
trying to, right. So, I mean, it
That
could be
could
some
be-
of that. I mean,
So the Caesar Milan of hunting with dogs.
right, basically. Again, I don't know. So maybe the original story was that part of that, but I don't know. Again, it's like almost 150 years ago, too, and it's not going to keep going. So it's just the story kept going. But maybe that's one initial, You right over there?
Yeah, I'm bleeding.
Oh, yeah. All right,
good.
there we go. Dogman. There
Got
we go.
bit. I got
Exactly.
nipped.
Yeah,
Should've
exactly.
shut up.
Yeah, so that was Michigan Dogman, which is another interesting story. Cryptids are very interesting things, man.
Well, I mean, it's just such a broad
Yeah.
thing that you can go. You can be anything from Bigfoot to a little pygmy person to dogs.
Right. Exactly. It's such a wide variety to
yeah.
aliens, apparently, at some point. So.
Even like the Jeeper Creeper thing would be a cryptid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be a. Oh, boy.
Well, I think you might like this new one.
Okay.
So the other 2 I did were Native American lore.
Yes.
And then I got away from it because
Okay.
I found this one and it kind of cracked me up.
Okay.
So down in Kentucky, a little bit away, it's called Fisherville.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing called the Pope Lick Monster.
Such a weird name.
I know. I don't know why. I don't even know if people in Kentucky believe in the Pope. But,
So do you start out as a priest lick and then a bishop lick and then you go to the Pope lick?
yeah, apparently. So
Oh.
This
Ugh.
thing is a human.
He tastes like pennies. Sorry.
Oh Jesus! So this thing is a hybrid. It's a human goat sheep mix.
Okay. Oof.
Now, I thought goats and sheeps were pretty much close. No, well, no, they're not the same thing. But
Yeah.
you know, I don't know why that had to be mixed.
Yeah. Human, goat, sheep.
That's weird.
Some freaky stuff going on with those farmers over there. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. So apparently, there's like there's a trestle, like a train trestle that you can is very tall.
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't know why, but it lures people that are on the trestle to jump off the trestle.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry. What? Trestle?
Trestle.
What is a trestle?
Trestle.
Trestle.
Like so, like when it's a bridge,
Okay.
and you know, remember when you see like all the wood and the train goes over it?
Yes.
That thing.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So
I'm
I
not
would
sure.
call it a bridge, but for some reason they're calling it a trestle.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because it's Kentucky and they want to be nice. So apparently this thing, what it does, it either uses hypnosis, which actually there's a lot of things it uses, but it either uses hypnosis to make you, like if you see it and you look in its eyes, maybe you just jump off the bridge.
Okay.
Or it uses voice mimicry for, I don't know why.
Ooh, that's creepy. Yeah.
People would jump off the bridge if you heard a voice.
Yeah, I know. I'm over here. Where? Just jump off. Okay.
Jump. Just come down. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
I don't know. And
The ground will break your fall. Don't worry
yeah,
about it.
it'll lure you onto the tracks when the train's coming, and you'll get run over by the train.
Oh shit. Yeah. So it's definitely not a nice. It's a entity or whatever. Right? Cryptid. Yeah.
And I don't know why it chose this bridge.
Right. Huh.
Maybe it's
It's home, I guess.
something.
Yeah.
But that's not just the only thing it does, though.
Oh, boy.
Because there's I don't know, people.
Is it just? I'm sorry. Is it just around this bridge alone? That's
Only
it?
that bridge.
Okay. And what bridge was it, or what trestle was it?
It's over in Fisherville, Kentucky.
Okay.
So it got so bad that so many people died off this bridge. They put an 8-foot fence surrounding it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because they just don't want more deaths
Right.
coming from this. So apparently this bridge is really a problem.
Got it.
But this thing that they keep saying, like this Pope Lake monster, they said sometimes it's so ugly, so crazy looking that you just jump off the bridge because you're scared of it.
That's
Like you just
pretty
need to
damn
get
ugly.
away from it.
You so ugly, people die.
Some people say that it carries around a bloody axe.
Jeez,
And
Louise.
attacks the victim.
I like
victims.
this one. This one has everything to
I
it.
know.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
It's an
it'll
axe
say
too.
like if you're driving below, it'll jump onto like either the train, or the car.
Right.
I guess cars can go underneath the bridge, so it'll jump down and attack the cars or attack the trains.
So what exactly? I mean, what is
You're
this?
gonna love this.
Go ahead. Yeah, keep going.
So what they think it is?
Okay.
They think there was a farmer
All right.
back in the day
Okay.
who believed in Satan,
Of course.
and he used to sacrifice goats and sheep
what farmers know.
for a satanic power.
Got it.
And this is the monster that he became when he got that power.
So we got the power of a sheep and a goat.
And to mimic people and to haunt one bridge.
Gotcha.
That's his satanic power, is to haunt one bridge.
I mean, if I was the farmer, if I was going to pick two animals, I would have picked like a bull and a horse. At least you're strong and fast. I mean,
Something.
you're paying like a chicken and a hedgehog. I'm like, what are you?
That'd be
But anyways,
hilarious.
yeah. So the goat sheep. So we got
chicken
this,
and a pig.
Yeah, chicken and a pig. You know, you just. It sounds like you taste delicious.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So he got his powers from that just to terrorize people, basically.
Yeah, I guess so. Some people also think it's like one of the circus freaks.
So how long has this been going on? When is this thing was?
It didn't say.
It really
it's
didn't say.
just been
Sounds
going
like it's been
on for a while. I think,
right?
well, it had to be at least, I mean, shit, how long they've been building bridges? 1800s?
Oh, more, yes, before then.
1700s.
Even before then, exactly.
Yeah, so it has to be around, maybe 300 years old, 400 years old.
Did it say what the characteristics are like? I know it's part of
No, because
okay.
they just, this is the thing.
ranges,
It's so ranged.
Oh, okay.
Because
Gotcha.
some people think it's a circus freak that got out and it just kills people that mistreated it.
Okay.
Which I don't know how a circus freak's living 400 years old.
Yeah,
But,
they don't.
you know,
You never know.
I don't know. But that was a funny
When
story.
you're
I was
in
like,
a-
okay.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, well, when you're in a pack with Satan, you live a little bit longer. You do thirst
Yeah.
for blood, and you're part chicken and or part sheep and part goat. But that's, I guess, it's
And also, if you're gonna do a pack with Satan, I don't recommend it. But if you do, make sure in the clause you can haunt more than just the bridge.
There you go. Exactly. I do hear that going for Satan, they have a good medical insurance.
I think so too. Yes.
Oddly,
very good medical.
Obviously, he lives 400 years.
Really
right?
good dental.
Really good dental. Yeah.
Now the
400
vision.
years long.
Yeah, the vision's not so good.
No, exactly. And you stink with high hell, but you're good. Exactly.
But dude, I thought that one. Like I was gonna keep going with the Native American lore, and then I saw this one, and I was like, this is just ridiculous.
We got a winner on that one.
Yeah, I was like, God damn. And why did you? I really want to know why they call it Pope Lake Monster. Like,
yeah, where's I wonder where that name comes from.
Because the town is Fisherville. Fisherville.
Sure
so how did you get Pope Lick? Like who's licking what?
Somebody's licking the Pope.
Was there like some weird dude that was like he like licked a guy named Pope, and then maybe Pope threw him off the bridge, and that's how it became the monster?
I guess there's something behind that. I guess we can look into it, but it's more fun not to.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Just imagine.
I'm like, people in Kentucky got way too much time on their hands.
That's right. That's what they get. Is finger licking good? Is Pope licking good?
Pope licking good.
All right, I like
so
that.
good it'll turn you into a monster. All right, what you got?
All right, so my last one I have, and it's kind of a famous one, but I don't want to go into it. It's going to be the Jersey Devil, man.
Okay.
The Jersey Devil, yeah. And because we're out here on the West Coast, and I forgot when I heard about it, and I'm like, oh yeah. So the New Jersey Devil hockey team was named after the Jersey Devil.
Very true, yeah.
Back in '83, and then when I heard that, I'm like, I knew
Makes
that.
complete sense.
I forgot about that. So the Jersey Devil. So I'm not going to go back too much into the history of it because it has a big long history of how it was born or why it's called the Jersey Devil. But we'll just go over the quick thing. So back in I want to say in the 1700s in the Pine Barrens area of Jersey Devil, which is where the Jersey Devil kind of lives.
Okay,
Pine Barrens area. There was a family they called the Leeds family, Leeds, Leeds family, which were not thought of very fondly. Well, supposedly the legend of the lore is Deborah Leeds, also known as Mother Leeds, had 12 kids.
Mother Leeds?
Yes. And the 13 kids, supposedly, she got pregnant the 13th time because I guess back then they didn't have...
Well, they just kept fucking and kept popping out kids. Well, half the kids didn't live, man.
Right, exactly, basically. So supposedly it said that she was frustrated by having another one, that she cursed the child, and the child, when after it was born, was transformed into the devil.
That's fucked up.
Another one was... she had supposedly she was a witch, and she had a child with the father was the devil himself.
Oh, that makes sense.
And some version, there was clergymen who tried to exorcise the devil, the Jersey Devil and stuff. Basically, what it was, it's from the Leeds family was the ones who are supposed to birth the Jersey Devil, basically. So the Jersey Devil, before we go into, let's see, creatures often described as a flying biped with hooves, but they're very many variations. Sorry. The common description is a bipedal kangaroo-like or wyvern, which is like a dragon, with wyvern's kind of like a dragon that's more of a snake type of
more Chinese
version
like a Chinese
of it.
dragon,
Not the big fat body, but the slim body.
Yeah.
With a horse or goat-like head, leathery bat wings, horns, small arms, and clawed hands. I'll put a picture of Wikipedia what it kind of typically looks like it.
They just added everything.
Right. Legs with cloven hooves, forked and pointy tail. It's like a agglomeration
it
of
sounds
a bunch
like a
of stuff.
Chinese New Year's calendar.
And the ponytails, obviously, what they have in the in NHL, the Jersey Devils have that
like
ponytail
the
thing.
little,
Exactly.
it has like the triangle.
Right.
Yeah.
It said there'd be a strange elongated body and a thick tail. It's supposed to emit a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. I didn't get exactly how big this was again.
I think I remember watching a documentary on it. I think it's like maybe 10 feet.
Yeah, it's a big range.
Like
There's a big range of stuff.
I've also heard it being like 5 feet tall.
Yeah, it's a big range of how big it is. So the connection to the Leeds family, basically, going over the history. So the Leeds family was a very rich family, lived in the Pine Barrens area. One of the original ancestors, I forget the name of them, one of the Leeds, they're part of the Quaker family, Quaker religion.
That's a whole thing
is one of the Leeds people had made a book that the Quakers didn't agree with, and they finally came into a big fight where the heat broke off from the Quakers and started their Christianity. So the Quakers started saying, like, well, you're in the league with the demons, and that's why you kind of left here. They were also pro-monarchist, which is pro like what the British like. They like the monarchy, right? Like the kings and queens.
The monarchy.
Yeah, monarchy. So
Yeah.
they were for them.
Patriarchy, monarchy.
So the people around the area didn't like them because they didn't want that. They were trying to get rid of the British at the time. So they were like, nobody liked them basically because Quakers didn't like him because they left and he had a fight with the Quakers. And, the people around the area in the United States didn't like him because he's for the monarchy. So the people started saying these people are devils. Supposedly, one of the let's see, I'm trying to get one of them had a little tiff with Ben Franklin of all people. Ben Franklin was kind of going back and forth with one of them. Yes,
Philadelphia and all
right. I think it was Daniel Leeds, if I remember right. If not Daniel Leeds, is one of the Leeds people, or Titan Leeds. Sorry, Titan Leeds was kind of going back and forth with Ben Franklin, but Ben Franklin would kind of tease him. And it looks like Titan Leeds would get really all frustrated.
You're the devil.
And back then, Ben Franklin was kind of famous. He was a kind of he was a do-it-all kind of guy. He would write books. He was a politician. He would all that stuff.
Was a scientist.
Scientist, all sorts of stuff. So
Yeah.
he would always tease them, and they would kind of get the whole folklore legend of this creature out there was the Leeds devil. Everyone's like, well, that's the devil, Leeds devil. He's at least even. It's from it's from Mother Leeds and everything. So that was kind of attached to them. Where later on in the 19th century, it kind of switched over to the Jersey devils after the
Okay.
in the Pine Barren
So
area.
maybe actually the Leeds are a good family now.
I have no idea. I don't know that Leeds lines are still alive or still going on. Stuff, yeah. But
What if they're like billionaires and that's why it became the Jersey Devil now?
right? Yeah, exactly.
Well, enough of that shit.
So some of the sightings now have, according to legend, visiting the Hanover Millworks, this person visiting to inspect his cannonballs, had Commodore Stephen Decatur had seen the creature, and they started
Inspect
firing
his
cannonballs.
cannonballs.
Yeah, I guess they're firing cannonballs upon it.
You have a cannonball inspector.
Supposedly Joseph Bonaparte, the brother of Napoleon, had sighted it when he came, visiting here in 1820, 1840. The Jersey Devils blamed for killing livestock. There were attacks in 1841 with tracks and screams. Just just all up and down. There's been sightings of it.
Still today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 25, a local farmer shot an unidentified animal and it tried to steal its chickens. Supposedly he had thought he had killed.
That one.
Yeah, like he killed it and he
Yeah.
had the corpse going on. Afterwards, he showed it to a bunch of people and nobody could identify it, but I didn't see exactly what happened with. Apparently, I guess it wasn't it, or it could be a bunch of Jersey Devils. I mean, if it's lived this long, it's since the 1700s. You would imagine.
It's something.
In 37, animal with red eyes was attacking. A couple of boys in 1951 attacked. In 60, they heard stuff, and it kind of goes to waves. There was a wave of sightings in 1909. From January 16th to 23rd, newspaper published hundreds of claims of encounters with the Jersey Devil all over South Jersey to the Philadelphia area.
That's a really small window.
Among these alleged encounters were claims the creature attacked a trolley car in Haddon Heights and a social club in Camden. The police in Camden and in Bristol, Pennsylvania, supposedly fired upon the creature but didn't do anything to it. There were original reports concerning the identified footprints in the snow, but the sightings of creatures resembling the devil were being reported throughout Jersey as far away as Delaware, basically, in western Maryland. So this thing is kind of going all over that whole area.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, explanations of this, of the skeptics that have gone on, obviously. Someone had said it's just stories made up by people who live in the Pine Barren areas, known as Pineys, that they created the stories so people would leave them alone. Because a lot of times, especially back 100 years ago,
That's the way to do it.
a lot of the residents that lived there are people who are trying to escape from public life. People who were probably criminals.
yeah.
Obviously, there were also highwaymen. They would rob people there, but they just wanted people to stay away from them. So they would create these stories. You also have people that are poor and living in this area were also made fun of, and other people from outside would make fun of them, saying that the devil lives there. And
Yeah, if they
it's
didn't
kind of a
understand
slight
people,
towards
yeah.
them, right? Kind
like
of
if
a
a
slight
woman
towards them.
was like out in the woods by herself, they called her a witch.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and sometimes these people will just take on that moniker, like, yeah, I'm a witch.
Because
Stay
they
away
just
from me.
want you.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
want peace and quiet.
Yeah, we're terrible. Stay away from us, basically, down here. There was a guy named Jeff Bruner of the Humane Society of New Jersey. He thinks he calls them sandhill cranes, which are not really.
Oh, I know what a sand. Those things are big.
Right, and not really supposed to be known to live there, but sandhill cranes are kind of what they describe could be what they're looking at.
They migrate.
Right.
So maybe that makes sense then because there's like a 7-day period that they saw these things, right?
I guess so, yeah. And there was
So maybe they were just in town.
yeah.
But that's fucking weird that they were
They're
like,
the
oh,
same
it attacked the
size,
thing.
same almost kind of. If you don't see them just right, could kind of look like what they're describing. They have the same kind of sound to them. You know, they have a really loud screeching yell.
No, yeah.
So that's what this person's saying. So there's people out there. The one guy said he lives out there, and he thought people mistook him for the Jersey Devil a few times because he's out there, he has mud all over him trying to repel the mosquitoes. So people will come with different descriptions and why they think it's out there. Other people believe it's out there. They believe they've seen it and stuff like that. So I thought the Jersey Devil was a really good one.
I was actually watching a documentary where the guy was in the area. He was talking to people, and the one guy goes, "We trapped it in a mine."
Okay.
And so they actually went out there and they started excavating the mine and trying to find this thing.
Yeah.
And they had and it was like real recent, and it was some credible story.
Yeah.
And they never found anything.
Really?
Yeah, but the guy was like, "Well, we could have different entrances to go out of, but we trapped it here." And
always just this much. You almost get it there.
And I also heard it was like a big owl.
I've heard of owls too.
Yeah. I've seen owls with some giant wingspans that freaked me out here in the desert. So I couldn't imagine how big they get out where they have stuff to hunt.
And speaking of owls, so going on from the Jersey Devil, some of the other stuff we're talking about, I looked into other stuff. I did the Hopskin goblins, the Flatwoods monster.
Yeah.
And that had to deal with aliens. A lot of times it was owls were saying. People were like, some of the descriptions like, well, it looks like what they're describing. It could have been an owl out there, and that's what people are seeing.
Some people say the Mothman was an owl too.
Yeah, they thought that. So those owls can get pretty big, especially in the area if you not know what you're looking at. If it's dark enough, you might be seeing something else.
Or if you see a big shadow just loom over you.
Yeah.
Because I ride my dirt bike out in these areas, and me and a buddy, we were going through a canyon.
Yeah.
And we scared an owl.
Yeah.
And I shit you not, this thing had to be 7-foot wingspan on it.
Scary. Yeah.
And I fell.
Yeah.
Because it swooped right over us, and I just dumped my bike, and I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's scary, man. Yeah.
And then when we finally looked at it, it was beautiful.
Catch it in the forest at the wrong time. You think it's something else.
Especially at night.
Yeah. Exactly.
What if it attacks you?
Oh yeah. Even worse. So yeah. So a lot of the stuff is kind of could be owls or different sandhill cranes.
Sandhill crane makes a lot of sense because they are big birds.
And then would kind of and that would explain like Jersey Devil, 1700s. So again with the Mission Dogman, like how long is this thing? Is it just one? And how long does it live? And
that makes sense. They migrate through that area.
Yeah, but not saying people who have seen it. Maybe there's something out there.
Because what I'm thinking is the birds migrate through. They use they know when storms are coming, so they'll actually divert certain times and go land somewhere else. So maybe that's kind of what that is.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, it kind of makes sense and stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard to,
Poor bird, you get shot at for no reason.
Fucking
devil.
Right. Other than the Public monster or something, these are kind of like, okay, this is a little sound. Public monster just sounds fun.
Dude, it does.
If that movie hasn't been made, which it probably has,
I'm going to look it up.
Exactly.
I'm looking it up and I'm watching it. Even if it's the worst movie ever.
Exactly. They probably can't name a pope or something. Doesn't have to mean something else.
What if the Vatican's like, you cannot name?
That's right.
I don't lick anything.
The Pope-like monster. Anyways, hey, yeah, guys. So there's just a few cryptids out here. Again, there's so many out here. We'll go through and
we'll do shows here and there about the cryptids, and we'll pick a couple, some fun ones
out there. Exactly, like the Public monster. I don't know if anything's as fun as a Public monster.
I don't know, man. I saw that one. I was like, this is hilarious.
So if you have a combination of monsters, I mean, like again, maybe that's just what he had: the sheep and the goat. I mean, what about like a lion and a gorilla? I mean, you have those two creatures. You'd be awesome, right?
Not in Kentucky.
Nope. Exactly. No. That's right.
I mean, what if it was like a fox and a hen?
Yeah, maybe. I want to do a ferret and a parakeet. What?
Like, a mouse?
You have a lion right there. No. It's got to be a ferret.
Yeah.
All right, man. A cobra and a
mouse.
That's right.
Mouse and a cobra. That's what we're doing today.
Weird stuff.
God, you guys have way too much time on your hands in Kentucky, but
a roach and a dodo bird. No, dude, what are you doing?
All right,
a tiger, right, and an elephant right there. Yeah. No, we can't do that.
An ant and a moth. That's what we're going with today.
Okay, sorry, I could do this all day. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for tuning in again, man.
Yeah, we hope you enjoy this one.
Yes, yeah, exactly. We did. That's fun. There's different stuff going on. And see, we're trying to get them that stuff out a little bit faster and a little bit sooner for you guys.
Yeah.
And hey, anything else?
No, that's it.
Please.
If you see the Poplick monster, run.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Run. Don't even because he carries an axe apparently, right?
Sometimes.
So he's got to have like a human hand, right? There's no description.
I don't know, man. The descriptions range from everything.
Because if you're like a goat, you're gonna hold on a hammer or a hand. Anyway,
Like it could have been just a hairy fucking human, and they're like, "You look like a goat."
Like the Mission Dog, man. There's a lot of them out there. You know,
A bloody axe.
right?
Like, you can't wash your axe.
Or your ass, then you should be, put in jail. Anyways, hey, like, subscribe, and share, guys.
Have a good one.
Yeah, we will see you next time. Boop.